Day. This is Toksa Hour. I am Maggie Ross, and I am live from Porcupine, South Dakota, along the Porcupine Creek where the porcupines roam. Sorry, a little bit late here. Had some technical issues with verification. Everything I logged into this morning needed to be second-hand verified or whatever they call that, second something. So kind of slowed me up. Everything. I don't know what's going on. Probably those silly Republicans. Anyways, so here we are. It is November 11th, and I am trying to find. I always have to adjust on YouTube for some reason. It wants to do its own self settings. And so I have to go in and fix it, or else it'll have a bunch of image issues. I'm not really a big fan of YouTube at the moment. Like I thought YouTube was the place to be, but I don't really like it. Good morning, Raymond. Good morning. Or good afternoon. I think it's afternoon over there. I'm glad you joined us. I've so it's gone on. A lot has happened. A lot has happened. And Tuesday was election day, and this is the thing. I guess this is the thing about elections is that oftentimes people want to claim them, right? They want to claim them to mark them or whatever. And so Zohran Mamdani, he won the mayor. He became the mayor of New York, and everybody on TikTok is saying, "Oops, oops, 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 oops." So some like they didn't even support him. Like he was 50, I think he almost was 51% of the vote, but he got I think he did get 51%. He got over 50% of the vote. And the Republicans didn't want him because of his talk about taxing the billionaires. So they sunk millions of dollars into the anti-Zoran campaign, which was Como. And the Democrats didn't want Zohran either. So all their billionaire people put all their money into Cuomo. And so Cuomo was defeated by Zohran in the primary and in the Democratic primary, he was defeated. And then Cuomo decided that I am going to become an independent and I'm going to, run in that general election. And so everybody put all the millions and millions of dollars into Cuomo. All the billionaires donating 1.3 million, 1 million. And then the like ongoing joke is that they paid more in campaign donations than what they would actually have been taxed, than what they would have had to pay in taxes. Isn't that crazy? Because if you think about it, like if you're so willing to just divide the people with your money versus just being a good citizen and paying your taxes. So you'll go all out, spend millions and billions of dollars to make sure that you are represented. It's crazy. It is very crazy. It was hard for me to wrap my head around. It was very hard for me to wrap my head around. So I wanted to show this as well, and I got to go back. Oops. So this is like the funny, for me anyways. Let's go over. Where's my? I'm gonna crank the volume up here. Okay, so this is Steve Bannon, and he is at the Conservative Partnership Academy. And so this is where they come together and pat themselves or whatever on their back and spew their agendas. And so this is him after elections.
If we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included. They're not going to stop. They are getting more and more and more radical. And we have to counter that. And what do we have to counter it with? We have to counter it with more action, more intense action, more urgency. We're burning daylight. If you look across every aspect of this, we have to codify what President Trump has done by executive order, right? We have to codify it.
It's hilarious. I mean, who does that can openly admit that you're a criminal? Like if we lose the election, we're going to jail, just on camera. And then there's, Donald Trump, he's all like, BB, we gave you those bombs. You asked, you knew what you needed. You're the best user of the bombs, BB. That's it's like the American complicity in the genocide. There's Donald Trump. Yep, we did it. We gave you the bombs. We're 100% Israel, and you finish it, like that. Like get all the Palestinians out. And yeah, for me, I think of those things, and it's just like, holy smokes, man. I think the mask is off, I guess to say. It's been off. I think it's been off. And we've been just kind of going back and forth between this Democratic Party, Republican Party, And so there's this really interesting point of view that I watched on where they talk about the Democrats just being an opposition party. They are not really about you and I. They're just about opposition. And so the Republicans are the opposition. And so then that's all they do. And so it's really important to know these things, because I think our political sphere in the United States is significantly changing. And I could go and say MAGA people and talk about MAGA people that way, but it isn't really MAGA people anymore. Like many of those people that were like pro-Trump, like the MAGA movement in itself was started by and worked with by people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. And you have Marjorie Taylor Greene like talking about the wings of the same bird. She's starting to talk about how she opposes the genocide. She opposes Israel. She, like all of these things, she's starting to talk about those. And then you have Tucker Carlson, talking about like, if you serve in the IDF, you should not be sitting in Congress. If you serve for a different country, you should not be sitting in Congress. And then you have Candace Owens, and Candace Owens is talking about how, geez, she's got a lot of stuff going on. Candace, she's busting everything open. She's talking not only about France and the prime minister over there and his wife and her alleged what Candace says is she's transsexual, like she had a sex change or she's transgender, whichever, but that's what she says about Bridget, I forget her last name. Anyway, so that's something that she talks about. But she's also talking about Charlie Kirk, and she's talking about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and she's like down the rabbit hole. She's doing the research. She's got her research, her documents, and so she reports every day about what else is coming new, and she's even got some conclusions coming now. And according to Candace, Turning Point USA, it's kind of like that Julius Caesar thing where he turns around and he sees his best friend and says, "Et tu, Brute?" "Et tu, Brute?" Like you too, Brutus. And so that's Charlie Kirk. Whether you liked his political views, his religious views, whatever, that's what happened to him. And why did that happen to him? Because he was the number one youth movement person in the United States. And when he started to change his views about Israel, that was a big concern because he could change the masses. He could change the masses and uncover all of the truth and talk about this made up religion called Judeo-Christian, or when people say they're Judeo-Christian. And the evangelicals, there's a lot of money in the cover up. You have evangelical Christians that are getting money, Zionists. You have the politicians getting money from the Zionists. You have them controlling a big portion, and when you say that, they call you anti-Semitic. When you say that these billionaire people, these Zionists, are behind it, and it just so happens that the Zionists fall behind Judaism, and they scapegoat and they make it an ethnic. They say ethnic. They're ethnic Jewish ethnic. They claim it. They don't even believe in it. They do not follow the religion. They do not practice it. They're atheists, but they use that religion because of the Holocaust. And so then they use that religion to go out and steal this land in Palestine, and then to slaughter people in Palestine, and then to claim it. And then they put so much money into the system that they bought everybody. So everybody has been purchased. And then they get their scripts, this is what you have to say. So you have actors, actresses, you have athletes, you have a lot of people. And if you step out of line, then they cut you off and you get in trouble. And they're even linking Michael Jackson to this stuff. That Michael Jackson found out. And so there's a pretty big theory. I even listened to a psychic talk about it, about who unalived him. And it was this Jewish guy, allegedly. It was this Jewish guy. But he too he was like an atheist Jewish guy, but fall under that. And he was like the music handler of Michael Jackson. And so because Michael Jackson found out, then they had to destroy him. And so how did they destroy him? They called him a pedophile. And then they made all these accusations. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. Like I sit back and think, wow. Like this is a crazy, crazy world. And I guarantee as we start digging in deeper and start looking at things deeper, we're going to find those same billionaires in the pockets of our tribal councils. I guarantee it, because they're in federal government. They're in federal government, and then they want things. And so like as Oglalas, we're usually pretty strong in standing against raping the land. We usually stand with Earth, with Uchi Maka. We usually stand with her and try to protect her. But not all tribes are doing that at this point. There are some tribes that are went to bed with the devil. And then if you go back, because you go back and you trace it, and you trace who owns those corporations, it's that billionaire class that use Zionism, or they misuse the Jewish faith and religion for their own political and financial gain. And that's really, really sad. I mean, even this platform I'm on, and they're talking about how this platform that I'm on, Google owns this platform, and they're talking about Meta, so Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp and is it Threads? I can't remember that what Meta owns. They are going through and deleting evidence is what they're saying. So all the documented videos, all the documented things that were out there on the crimes of humanity in that were occurring in Palestine have been scrubbed. And then there's people that were very big followers on YouTube. Like I followed the Noisy Immigrant and I follow him on TikTok too. But he used to have thousands, hundreds of thousands of views and stuff, and then you just see how he dropped talking on these. And it's the same over in TikTok because Oracle now is owned, or TikTok is owned by Oracle, which is owned by a billionaire guy, Jewish, who claims Jewish ethnicity. I can't remember his name, but it doesn't matter. Like their names don't even matter because it's just a repeated instance and system that we're going through, and we are all just controlled. I was just watching a what was it? Document or not? It's not a documentary, but I gotta pull it up on my phone. Hold on. This guy, he goes by on Substack. Let me see if I can get him on Substack. His thing is my internet wants to be so slow. So slow. Let's see if I can find him on my TikTok. Oops. So his name is Qasim Rashid. Here, let's see if I could get it. See if you can hear it. Whoops.
Just how are they dying? Overdose, suicides, beatings, and when guards kill inmates, they get murdered. And all of this is shrouded in us. So when families ask what happened to their sons, the state is concerned. I'm not due to a new documentary called The Alabama Solution. Finally getting a fuller picture of just how horrific the situation was.
I'm not sure if you can hear. I'm hoping you can hear.
System collapsing, corruption, forced labor. Also no one can find them sound this Stephen he is now family, ancestors, parents, and the system protects its own while 1,300 Alabama's first year, it's forcing us to look at steps that happen behind these walls. And it's taking the first step for sanity forever. These are voices collected to demand responsibility and responsibility.
So what he's talking about is a documentary called Alabama Solutions. And in Alabama, what is happening there is they have this what do they call it? They're killing inmates is basically what they're doing. And so he is talking about that and about how this is just going in the cover-ups, the massive cover-ups of it. So it's really, really interesting to listen and to think about, because we're not even paying attention to that either. And so even in that, we're going to find out that there's, something going on here. That there are probably bigger fish trying this, because it's about money and people don't even care about our lives. But so I'm going to be watching that Alabama Solution sometime this week. But I think there's a growing concern, like how is this continuing to happen for us? How do we continue to be stuck in these situations? And even for Mamdani, the governor Hochul there is already saying that she's not going to allow him to do the things that he wants to do as mayor. And so some of the things he's probably going to have to just break out of being a Democrat. He may have to switch or something, because they're not going to allow him to do the things that he would like to do. And his agenda isn't even that bad, because it's already things that are kind of in place and have been in place. So it's just like the part of improving services and that. But taxing the billionaires is what I think. It's millionaires. If you're making over a certain $1 million, then your tax will be from 1% to 2% or something like that, to help fund services. And everybody gets into this, like, and I don't like I don't like taxes if my taxes are just going to blow up children, to devastate communities. I don't want my taxes to be used for that. If I'm paying my taxes in, I want them to go to be helping, because I'm fortunate enough to be able to have a job. So I would like my taxes to go to helping other people get jobs, helping people find homes. He talks about subsidized housing, like capping housing costs. And this was a big, in the debate where Zohran, they asked how much do you pay? And he said he lived in a capped residence for 23, and he had to pay $2,300 a month. And his annual income was like 140,000. So his income per month is $2,300. And then it went over to Andrew Cuomo, and they asked him how much, and he's like $7,900 is what he pays for rent. And box elder bugs are horrible. Ugh, I hate them. Anyway, so Andrew Cuomo then, like really admitting that he's elite. He's elite. And then he tries to like really fall on his father, Mario Cuomo, as the thing to get him over. But Andrew Cuomo did a lot of things, that he should not ever be reelected. And I think Zohran said that in his speech, hopefully this is, puts him into retirement. meaning we got to move on. All these old people need to get out of the way. And I don't mean that to be disrespecting elderly people, but when we have such a level of corruption in our government, then, and all of those people are 80 or something years older, 70, 80 years old, we need to move on. There's got to be opportunity for change. We don't want to live this way anymore. We want change. Allow us to have change. You know, I remember saying this about 10 years ago to someone, a politician. Like, you're closer to the cemetery or you're closer to your grave than I am. You know, like, why are you so adamant about maintaining and controlling power? So I got in trouble for it too. Yeah, it's really unpopular for saying such a thing. I don't regret it though, just because there's so many people coming, so many young people coming, so many visionaries coming, that they deserve an opportunity. They deserve an opportunity to let's put it over there. They deserve an opportunity to bring change and to lead, because we are living in their time. You know, the people that are running our country right now, they have created such massive debt because of the opposition party movement, right? So the Republicans come out and tell all their people it's the Democrats' fault. And that's what Steve Bannon was doing. Saying, trying to put fear in those people that if we lose the election, we're all going to jail, you know? Well, you should go to jail if you're breaking the law. Well, you should go to jail. Why are you privileged? Why is it you don't have to? How come a 34 felon, convicted felon can be president of the United States? I mean, MAGA people, when they talk about their accountability measures, they have to answer that. Like, how did you vote for him? Oh, we felt like he was witch hunted. Well, isn't wouldn't this all be kind of considered witch hunting? When you're talking about accountability and you see somebody that was being breaking the law or getting away with things, wouldn't you then say that, oh, because you had investigative reporters looking at, isn't that witch hunting? I mean, you have to look at things like that. Like, the way your mind is corrupted to believe that accountability is witch hunting. We all have to be, there's consequences to everything we do. There is bad consequence and there is good consequence. So every choice that we make, there's a consequence to it. And so that's on us. That's individually, that's on us. Collectively, that's on us if we continue to allow it to happen. So the Supreme Court came out about food stamps, right? So that was that lady that was a Jackson, that was the Supreme Court Justice Jackson that was appointed by Biden. She's the one that put a hold on the lower court's ruling that said that Donald Trump had to release the food stamps. So what does that mean? It means what I'm telling you, people. It means what I'm telling you. All the Democrats and the Republicans, all this is just a way where the billionaire class, millionaire class maintains power through these groups of people to suppress us. So they put us into predicaments because they are starving us. They are unhousing us. They are feeding drugs into our communities. They are doing all of these things to unstabilize us individually and collectively. And so when they're able to do that, then what ends up happening is we react. And so sometimes we might become criminals because of it. That's the reaction, because you grew up in it. So you become a criminal. you start looking to, because of the cost of everything, you might start looking to take from somebody. And when I think about us as Lakota people, we're supposed to give, we have generosity. I really admire that about Islamic people, Muslims, because their whole thing is about giving away, like us. They do it all year round. They have times you have to give to the dua, I think is what they call it. But you give away. You give too. You share what you have. And they even have this saying about like if you have enough food to feed yourself, it should feed another person. So like a setting, if it's a table setting for one and there's two of you there, then you share that and it becomes a table setting for two. And if you can share it to two, then you should be able to share it to four. And so really being able to be in that place of sharing, generosity. We have been corrupted, my dear people, into believing that the power structure is the way, like what's happening with council, what's happening in our communities, all of that we've been corrupted, and it's unfortunate. And I don't even know how, like I have ideas about how to go about addressing these things, but everybody has to be willing to do work in it. And if you don't have everybody, you're going to have the opposition party. So I'm sorry, my dog, hold on. My dog, he sits at that window as soon as he sees somebody moved, and boy, he really loses his mind. But anyways, so what was I talking? Oh my gosh. So it's really a hard thing to do, to come about change and bringing change for the people, for our children, because everybody has to be vested. And people are not vested because we are ruled by the haves and the have-nots. And for the longest time, and I'll just again share my own story about this, like my whole longest time, as a teacher, I lived at schools that provided housing. And when you're living like that, you're living like your loyalty, or I don't even know if I want to say loyalty, but it just like you're not your own person. Like you don't have, like you can be manipulated and abused. And so like it just is a hard way. Like everybody's, you have to find somewhere to live. And so me being able to find what I found, to live on my own land and to have my own thing, it was a free trailer that I slowly renovate over almost 10 years now, a little bit of this, a little bit of that over the years. And so still have a lot of work to do on it, but it's mine. I don't have to pay nobody. So if I lose my job, or if I don't want to do working for somebody else anymore, I can quit. And I really try hard to try to minimize my debt. So try to, buy vehicles I can afford. I like to secondhand shop, so I try to do that. Just try to find things that I can afford and live within my means. And it's been hard lately because everything costs so much money. I used to be able to help a lot more than I can now. And it's a little bit of a struggle. So I used to be able to buy things from from people, to help support their cause and stuff like that. But with the cost of living on the rise, and then even me, like my employment now, like I have to drive a great distance, so that means I have to save gas money for that. And anyway, so those kind of things, and that's just how it is. And people often, I guess I don't like when we think about New York City and like the whole argument of free. I listen to these guys saying, well, he just give everything for free and nobody's gonna work for nothing, and that's all everybody wants is a handout. But yet we look at each other and we say that, but we don't look at that billionaire class. We might actually even praise them because, oh, that billionaire class can donate to my 501c3, and then I'm going to have $50 million. I'm going to have $50 million that I can do whatever I want with in my 501c3 because all these billionaire people gave me all this money. So yeah, it can be it could be very frustrating. Hey, I for those of you watching, I want to say thank you for logging in. If you haven't already, if you can hit the like button, if you can hit share and share this, and then at the top of your screen there should be a subscribe. So subscribe. I'd appreciate it. It would be great. Shoot. It's really that part. And I just received I have I'm earning or gaining more followers for Toksa Hour, but I'm doing that in Substack. So I'm in Substack, and usually right after I get done with Toksa Hour, I do a post in Substack and I share the video. And so in Substack, if I can get there, I am Maggie Ross in Substack, and my handle is redflower.substack.com. And so you can follow me there. And I'll do writing in Substack. And so just trying out new different things where this is able to happen. YouTube might not be the place. I was thinking this was the place for Toksa Hour. We might just keep the channel thing, but we may start moving maybe to Substack, because Substack is it's growing. It's a growing platform, and a lot of information there. I really like watching or being a part of Substack because I'm a point of view type of person, so I like to read and listen to other people's points of view. And sometimes I totally disagree, sometimes I kind of agree, sometimes I agree, and sometimes I really agree. But I don't try to spend too much time with people that I really agree with, because we're already in that echo chamber. We're already saying that. So what I try to do is go find, listen to people that I may not agree so much with. Maybe some of their stuff makes me go, "Eesh." Like Candace Owens. Like I didn't 100% agree with her. No way. In the beginning. Now I listen to her every day. And she has become the #1 podcast in the world. In the world. Everybody is listening to Candace. And she's very, I just really like her. Like I like her attitude, her aura, her energy, all of that, because she can openly admit, and she does openly admit when she is wrong, like being corrected. And so she got thrown away from her people because of her position on Israel. So the Republicans or the MAGA people just kind of threw her out because she dared to listen to somebody else and to educate herself, and then to understand that she was misled, misguided, and lied to. And so then she went on her own journey to figure out what was the truth about this. And so they call her every name in the book, Tucker Carlson as well. And he talks about that, like how he changed and knowing, and like being a Christian, he can't support that. And so these guys are all like the realization that they were being manipulated, just like on our side of the Democrats, we were being manipulated. So we're continually being propagandized, just to point fingers to say they're the opposition party. And so neither one of these entities or organizations are about true change. They're about maintaining the status quo. And that is the billionaire, millionaire class, and then the rest of the people. And so that's why all of a sudden, like, people are switching, especially after Tuesday. When Mamdani won, like, there's people trying to, how would you say, like, they're trying to capitalize off of that. They're trying to, because they need to get him in and they need to change his politics. And so you know what he did? Like, so I didn't know this. I didn't know this about once you get elected according to electoral or election rules. So in New York, you cannot use your campaign money. You cannot use your campaign money to pay your transition team. So when you get elected, then it's all the billionaire people that donate money to your transition team. So they control who is coming in on the transition team. And so Zohran Mamdani has just recently done an ad saying, remember how I asked you to stop donating to my election campaign? Well, please start donating to my transition team. And so he's bringing people who are not connected to the billionaires. And so people are having problems with that because he's really trying to make sure that he represents the people, not the billionaire, millionaire class. And so that's where we need to go with our politics. We need to get behind people like that, and we need to support them. If you know them running, support them. So there's a debate, 1 in 12 or 1 in 7 people in South Dakota are on snaps. Those people on snaps can make the difference in an election. And so people should be calling the Republican Party and calling them out. And we know that it isn't the Democratic side of the bird that is shutting down the government or starving people. We know it's the Republicans because Donald Trump went to the Supreme Court and asked them to stop the lower court ruling forcing him to release SNAP benefits. And so we need to know that and remember that. And we need to get up off of our unzekis and do something. Like, we're all passive aggressive people back here trying to be, oh, that government don't represent me. Oh, like that's whatever. Yeah, we're in this situation because we're all not going to vote. We're all choosing to not participate, and they like it that way. So this is the situation we're in severe corruption. And like I said in the very beginning, I guarantee you, if we dug far enough into the drug and alcohol problem on the reservation, into the corruption problems on the reservation, we will find the millionaire, billionaire class funding it, supporting it. And they're doing it also in our nonprofits. So that's why, like, our nonprofits got started, but you hear absolutely nothing. You hear peanuts from them because they don't want to affect their funding. And so I'll just look at the wall while Alabama kills all their prisoners. I'm just going to look at the wall when all of these children are being unalived in Palestine and Sudan. And I'm going to look at the wall because all of the Congo children are being enslaved. I'm going to look at the wall because I don't want to lose my funding and lose my income. That's where we are. And I was listening to somebody the other day talking about that, about how our nonprofits and even our spiritual leaders, medicine leaders, how they have bought into it. And so how many of we're not humble Lakota people anymore. So I don't know. Sad day in America. Not really, but it is. Shoot. I need more coffee. I was thinking I should have my coffee pot right here. And coffee. So I did get the jingle going, but I asked somebody to help me kind of put to sing it and to put music to it. And so hopefully I'll have that here soon. I am really trying to move on what we're doing here with Toksa Hour and finding ways to improve what we're doing. Shoot. I think it's just entertainment. Entertainment these days. I look at all these people and think, geez, here you are trying to do this to us. And then here we are allowing it to happen. So elections are around the corner. And how do we bring change? I had somebody talk to me about who they, like their platforming or like what they do, how they use social media. And then I was thinking about myself, like, I don't know. I guess I'm political. I'm trying to figure out my identity, I guess. I'm education, I'm politics. I don't know what I am. So I got to figure that out. What is Toksa Hour? Oh, shoot. And I wanted to say, I didn't I was saying people didn't know or they thought because I left Facebook that Toksa Hour just doesn't exist anymore. And then they're finding out that I'm over here on YouTube. So my last week Toksa Hour got quite a few views. So people found me, but are they liking? Are they following? Are they subscribing? I don't know. Yeah, that's the one thing that I don't like also about YouTube. Like on Facebook, I knew I could see who was watching. So I could engage. I could engage with them, but on in YouTube, I don't. So you have to actually type something in the chat for me to see that you are watching. So then I can greet you. So like right now, the only one that chatted me was Raymond. Said good morning. And Raymond is all the way overseas. And so he tunes in pretty faithfully since probably almost the beginning of Toksa Hour. He's been with us. And so one of my friends said, because of that, because I had people in Great Britain, France, Iceland, anyways, different places like that, and watching. even though I didn't have millions of followers or whatever they said I was global. Hey, that's how they were talking to people about Toksa Hour. Yeah, it's global. It's all over. People are watching it all over the world. Like, I don't know about all over the world. It's probably 5 houses or 6 houses or something. But it's flattering, when my friends talk about Toksa Hour and the things that we're doing. So our subscribership did go up. We're at 49. We used to be at 7. So slowly people are finding, and maybe next week we'll have a little bit more. I'm working on a lineup again, so Jace Pratt is going to join us again. I'm going to work on scheduling that, and Kyle Mestiff might be joining for an interview about what he's doing with ground control and his skateboarding project in Pine Ridge. And anyways, I got some lineups coming about talking about what we're doing. And my granddaughter's really trying to get her face in. Trying to get herself in. There she is. And if you can see, she manages to cut her bangs all the time on her own. Very tragically sad. But anyways, we are up on our hour. And my granddaughter always reminds me that it is time when she starts hovering that I've been doing this too long. I don't monetize. That's the other thing I was going for, to talk about, like, people monetize by making you pay for the subscription. I'm not monetizing that way. I was thinking about maybe getting maybe some sponsors, working on it maybe. And but right now I don't charge nothing, and I never want to do that. I never want to charge people for joining us on Toksa Hour. I never want to charge. I want it to be free, because I know that's why I pay for everything out of my own pocket too. That's the other thing that I try to do, pay for things out of my own pocket so that it's affordable. And then also nobody can tell me what to do. Say, politics are horrible. I mean, they could be treacherous. The only way that I get affected is like that. So, and I saw that happening as soon as I started talking about Palestine on Facebook. Like, I saw the decline in views, and I saw all of that. And so Meta is a Zionist entity. Google is too. So here I sit. So anyways, you guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you for joining. It's really important that we be wise about what people are asking us to do and to support. So when it comes to the Democrats, like, this is what they're trying to build their base on, is that, oh, we're getting it back. But they're not getting it back, because they are still receiving money from the Zionist organizations, from the Zionist billionaires, from all of those. So it isn't. So they want to fool us. It's a trickery. They want to trick us to think that the Democrats have the answer, but they do not. Because remember when Biden, and what the Democrats were giving billions of dollars to Israel? We got to remember that. Did they did they codify Roe versus Wade? No, they did not. So we got to remember that they like to keep us in this situation that we're in, because they benefit from it as a corporation. So the Democrats and Republicans are corporations. And look again, where is it? See, I got these box elders. They're all coming in, and they just land on me all over. See, box elder. I was trying to catch one on my laptop here. Oh, I can't stand them. So anyways, you guys, you have a great, go put those outside there. You have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next week. Toksa Ake Wachi on Kink Day.